Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ba'ad. All thanks and praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may His peace and blessings be upon His last and final messenger, His family, His companions, and those who follow them until the end of times. Welcome to lesson number 68 of Tafsir al-Jalalayn. Alhamdulillah, yesterday in our lesson together, we were able to cover verses 72 to 89 of Surah al-Ma'idah. So inshallah today we're going to pick up right where we left off with verse number 90. So I am going to recite this page of the Mus'haf first tilawatan, followed by the first paragraph of the tafsir on this page, after which I will then translate and comment. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول واحذروا فإن توليتم فاعلموا أنما على رسولنا البلاغ المبين ليس على الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات جناح فيما طعموا إذا ما اتقوا وآمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ثم اتقوا وآمنوا ثم اتقوا وأحسنوا والله يحب المحسنين يا أيها الذين آمنوا ليبلونكم الله بشيء من الصيد تناله أيديكم ورماحكم ليعلم الله من يخافه بالغيب فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقتلوا الصيد وأنتم حرم ومن قتله منكم متعمدا فجزاء مثل ما قتل من النعم يحكم به ذوى عدل منكم هديا بالغ الكعبة أو كفارة طعام مساكين أو عدل ذلك صياما ليذوق وبال أمره عفى الله عما سلف ومن عاد فينتقم الله منه والله عزيز ذو انتقام. قال الإمام السيوطي رحمه الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر المسكر الذي يخامر العقل والميسر القمار والأنصاب الأصنام والأزلام قداح الاستسقام رجس خبيث مستقذر من عمل الشيطان الذي يزينه فاجتنبوه أي الرجس المعبر به عن هذه الأشياء أن تفعلوه لعلكم تفلحون إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر إذا أتيتموهما لما يحصل فيهما من الشر والفتن ويصدكم بالاشتغال بهما عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة خصها بالذكر تعظيما لها فهل أنتم منتهون عن إتيانهما أي انتهوا. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is declaring the prohibition of khamr, the unlawful nature of not only khamr, but also maisir, gambling, ansab, idols, azlam, these divining arrows or lots of divination. And He declares all these things to be rijusum min amali shaitan. All of these things are filth from Satan. All of these are evil of Satan's work. فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ So stay away from them. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ So that you may be successful. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the believers and says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who have believed, innama al-khamru wal-maysiru wal-ansabu wal-azlamu rijsum min amali ash-shaytan fajtanibuhu. Intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are all evil of Satan's handiwork. So shun them, stay away from them, refrain from them, so that you may be successful. So here Imam as-Suyuti rahimahullah, he says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who have believed, O you who believe in Allah and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the last day, innama al-khamru, truly al-khamr. Then Imam as-Suyuti rahimahullah, he defines khamr. He says, al-muskiru alladhi yukhamiru al-aqla. It is an intoxicant that clouds the mind. Intoxicant that covers and clouds and alters the mind. So that is the definition of al-khamr according to Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. Right? Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he defines khamr as every single intoxicant. Any intoxicating beverage that clouds a person's mind, that covers their mind, that alters their mind. So this is the definition according to Imam al-Shafi'i. According to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, the word khamr is khas. It is very specific and is referring specifically to wine. He defines it as an-nayyi'u min ma'il inabi, raw grape juice. إِذَا غَلَى وَاشْتَدَّ. إِذَا غَلَى, if it is boiled, and ishtadda, it ferments. وَقَذَفَ بِالزَّبَدْ, and it starts foaming. And he fermented grape juice when it reached the level of now becoming intoxicating. That is the definition of al-khamr according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. And the Hanafi madhab is perhaps the most complicated when it comes to the rulings related to intoxicating beverages and identifying exactly what khamr is and what the other intoxicating beverages are, and then the rulings that are built upon that. It is perhaps one of the most complicated, and perhaps because of that, the most nuanced discussions regarding it as well. But the other madahib, they are more direct and more open and more clear, and it's simply al-muskir alladhi yukhamiru al-aqla. Khamr is referring to any intoxicating beverage, any beverage that will cloud a person's mind and cover their mind and alter their mind. And even the Hanafis, they say that ma askara kathiruhu faqaliluhu haram. Anything that intoxicates in large quantities, small quantities of it are also unlawful and impermissible. And this is the final verse that was revealed for the total prohibition of drinking intoxicating beverages. That the prohibition of wine and other intoxicating beverages was revealed over time. It wasn't prohibited initially, immediately, all at once. Rather, it went through this gradual, step-by-step process. And there's deep divine wisdom in that. And that wisdom was highlighted by a statement of Aisha radiallahu anha, that if the first thing to be revealed were the prohibition of drinking, then no one would have followed you. And that is part of the wisdom of gradual revelation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first focused on people's iman, on their faith, and building their iman, building their akhlaq, and building their character and values and morals and principles. And once iman was firmly established in their heart, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed rules and regulations and laws. So even the prohibition of khamr went through this gradual process. That initially, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that verse in Surah al-Baqarah, that they ask you about khamr and maisir. Say, قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. That there's great harm in it, but also benefit. And then the verse was revealed that don't come to prayer while you're drunk. And then later Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this total, complete prohibition. So here Imam as-Suyuti rahimahullah, because he is an adherent of the Shafi'i school of thought, he says al-khamr is referring to al-muskir alladhi yukhamiru al-aqla. It is referring to an intoxicating beverage that clouds the mind. Wal-maysiru al-qimar. Right? Here Imam Suyuti clarifies that al-maisir is referring to gambling. Wal-ansab. Ansab means idols. Al-asnamu, right? Idols. Wal-azlam, divining arrows. Right? These were those arrows, these were those lots that the mushrikun would use to make major decisions in life. Like they had certain things written on them, and if they had to make a decision in life, they would go pick it out of this container, and whatever their arrow said, they would follow it. So if the arrow said do it, they would do it. If the arrow said don't do it, they wouldn't do it. Sort of like in the modern era, like people have this magic 8-ball. Right? So similar to that, they had these divining arrows. So all four of these things, al-khamr, intoxicating beverages according to Imam al-Shafi'i, wine specifically according to Imam Abu Hanifa, al-maisir, that is gambling, al-ansab, idols, wal-azlam, these divining arrows. And then he himself defines it. Imam Suyuti says, qidahul istisqam, right? Those arrows that were used for drawing lots, right? For divination, for making decisions. Rijsun, they are filth. Khabithun, right? Rijsun and khabithun, they can be considered as synonymous. Imam As-Suyuti rahimahullah is using the word khabith to explain the word rijsun, filth, dirty. Mustaqdarun, something that people find disgusting and repulsive. So all of these things, according to Islam, are things that are rijsun. They are filthy, they are dirty, they are disgusting, they are repulsive. Min amali shaitan, from the works of Satan, from the deeds of Satan. Alladhi yuzayyinuhu, that he embellishes and adorns and beautifies. Right? He makes them appealing to mankind. He makes them appealing so that people fall into it. Fajtanibuhu, and since all of these things are filthy and dirty and nasty and repulsive, fajtanibuhu, then stay away from them totally and completely. Right? Refrain from them, abstain from them, shun them. Ar-rijsa. Right? Stay away from ar-rijs. So here he's highlighting that Allah says, fajtanibuhu. There's a dhamir muttasil, there's an attached pronoun. And that attached pronoun is going back to and referring to the word rijsun. Fajtanibu, meaning avoid and stay away from ar-rijs. Avoid and stay away from this filth and these things that are disgusting and repulsive. Al-mu'abbar bihi an hadhihi al-ashya. That the word rijs is being used to express these things that were mentioned in this verse. Al-khamr, al-maisir, al-ansab, al-azlam. An taf'alu. Don't do these things. Stay away from them, avoid them, shun them, and don't do them. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so that you may be successful. So this is a clear, explicit, unambiguous prohibition of all four of these things. All four of these things are absolutely, totally, completely unlawful. In the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. Right? Shaitan wishes to stir up hostility and hatred between you through intoxicants and gambling, and to prevent you from remembering Allah and praying. Will you not then abstain? Will you not then refrain? So, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانِ, that Satan only wants, only wishes, أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءِ, to place adawa, enmity, and baghdha, hatred. Right? He wants to plant and place enmity and hatred amongst you, فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ, through wine or intoxicants and gambling. إِذَا أَتَيْتُمُوهُمَا, when you engage in them. That when you drink and when you gamble, right, one of Satan's plans and objectives is to create hostility and enmity amongst you. لِمَا يَحْصُلُ فِيهِمَا مِنَ الشَّرِّ وَالْفِتَنِ, because of the evil and problems that are created through both of them. That both of these things result in a lot of evil and a lot of fitan, a lot of trials and tribulations and problems. وَيَصُدَّكُمْ, and through them he wants to prevent you. Right? And he wants to prevent you بِاشْتِغَالِ بِهِمَا, right? By occupying you with both of these things, and dhikrillah. He wants to prevent you from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa anis salah, and He wants to prevent you and keep you away from as-salah, ritual prayer. خصها بالذكر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions prayer specifically, ta'zeeman laha, to show its status, to show its honor. فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. So will you not refrain, will you not abstain عن إتيانهما, from engaging in both of these things, in drinking intoxicating beverages and gambling? The meaning is, this is a rhetorical question, but it's a command. Intahu, refrain, stay away from these things, don't even come close to them. قال رحمه الله وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول واحذروا المعاصي فإن توليتم عن الطاعة فاعلموا أنما على رسولنا البلاغ المبين الإبلاغ البين وجزاؤكم علينا ليس على الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات جناح فيما طعموا أكلوا من الخمر والميسر قبل التحريم إذا ما اتقوا المحرمات وآمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ثم اتقوا وآمنوا ثبتوا على التقوى والإيمان ثم اتقوا وأحسنوا العمل والله يحب المحسنين بمعنى أنه يثيبهم. So here in this next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the importance of obeying Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَاحْذَرُوا. Obey Allah and obey the Messenger and beware, be heedful, be cautious, be careful. فَإِن تَوَلَّيْتُمْ. If you turn away, فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا عَلَى رَسُولِنَا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينَ. Then know that our Messenger's duty is only to convey the message clearly. So here Imam al-Suyuti writes, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَاحْذَرُوا الْمَعَاصِيَ. Obey Allah and obey the Messenger and beware of sin. Beware of sins and acts of disobedience. Be heedful. فَإِن تَوَلَّيْتُمْ عَنِ الطَّاعَةِ. If you turn away from disobedience, فَاعْلَمُوا, then know, أَنَّمَا عَلَى رَسُولِنَا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينَ. Then our messenger's duty is only to convey the message clearly. الْإِبْلَاغُ الْبَيِّنُ. Clear conveyance, clear delivery. That is the responsibility of the Prophet ﷺ, to deliver the message in a clear and ambiguous manner. Right? وَجَزَاؤُكُمْ عَلَيْنَا. And your recompense is upon us. That whatever you decide to do with that message, if you accept it, alhamdulillah, you will be rewarded immensely. But if you choose to reject it, and if you choose to turn away, then you will have to face the consequences of doing so, which is receiving punishment. ليس على الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات جناح فيما طعموا إذا ما اتقوا وآمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ثم اتقوا وآمنوا ثم اتقوا وأحسنوا والله يحب المحسنين. There is no blame, there is no sin on those who believe and do good for what they had consumed before, as long as they fear Allah, have iman and do what's good. Then they believe and act virtuously. Then become fully mindful of Allah and do righteous deeds. For Allah loves those who do good. So, some of the Mufassirun mention that this verse was revealed in a particular background, in a particular context, meaning there's a sababun nuzul, there's a cause of revelation. And that is when the prohibition of khamr and gambling was revealed. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh and some other companions approached the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, what about our brothers in faith that have already passed away? And they used to drink and they used to gamble. What's going to happen to them? So as a consolation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this verse and said, there's no blame upon them, there's no sin upon them, because they did these things before the prohibition. And they passed away even before the prohibition came down and was revealed. So there's no blame upon them, there's no sin upon them. So here Imam al-Suyuti writes, لَيْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ جُنَاحٌ. There's no sin, there's no blame upon those who believed and did righteous deeds. And in the context of revelation, meaning those who passed away and engaged in drinking and gambling before its prohibition. There's no sin, there's no blame upon them. فِيمَا طَعِمُوا, with respect to what they consumed. With respect to what they consumed, يعني أكلوا من الخمر والميسر قبل التحريم. With respect to what they consumed and ate in terms of khamar and gambling before its prohibition. إِذَا مَتَّقَوْا, as long as they had taqwa al-muharramat, as long as they avoided the unlawful things, as long as they avoided the prohibited. وَآمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and they believed and they did righteous deeds. ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا وَآمَنُوا, يعني ثبتوا على التقوى والإيمان. And then they had taqwa, they were mindful, aware and conscious of Allah, and they believed, meaning ثبتوا, they remained firm and steadfast upon the taqwa and iman. ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا, and then they even elevated their taqwa more than that. وَأَحْسَنُوا الْعَمَلَ, and did good deeds, or they did ihsan in their deeds. They did their deeds with excellence. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and Allah loves those who do good, or Allah loves those who do things with excellence. بِمَعْنَى أَنَّهُ يُثِيبُهُم, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them. Alright. So some of the commentators, they mention that al-muradu bithani, right over here we have a repetition of amanu and a repetition of taqwa many times. So he's saying that ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا وَآمَنُوا, the second time is التقوى عن الخمر والميسر بعد تحريمهما, that now these people are conscious and mindful of Allah and they don't approach gambling and intoxicating beverages after its prohibition. And then the third time taqwa is mentioned again, ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا وَأَحْسَنُوا, it means التقوى عن سائر المحرمات, that now they have taqwa in terms of trying their best to stay away from all prohibited and unlawful things. Right? So this is a very powerful verse, and again it was revealed in the context when the companions asked, what about our brothers and sisters in Iman that passed away while still drinking and while still engaging in gambling, because the prohibition had not yet come down. So it says, لَيْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ جُنَاحٌ, there's no sin and there's no blame upon them. قال رحمه الله يا أيها الذين آمنوا ليبلونكم الله بشيء من الصيد تناله أيديكم ورماحكم ليعلم الله من يخافه بالغيب فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم. O you who have believed, Allah will surely test you with game, within the reach of your hands and spears, to distinguish those who fear Him in secret. Whoever transgresses from now on will suffer a painful punishment. Another translation, which perhaps is more like word for word and literal, O you who believe, Allah will certainly test you with some of the game coming in the range of your hands and spears, so that Allah may know those who fear Him, even though He is unseen. Whoever transgresses the limit after all this, for him there is a painful punishment. So some of the Mufassirun mention that this particular verse was revealed during the year of al-Hudaybiyah. Right? This happened during the year of al-Hudaybiyah, when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and his companions had set out for Mecca in order to perform Umrah. And while they were in the state of Ihram, right, all of this game was coming to them very easily. And it was very easy for them to then hunt and capture this game. And one of the prohibitions and one of the restrictions of being in the state of Ihram, being in the state of pilgrim sanctity, is that it is not lawful and it is not permissible to hunt. If a person hunts, then there's a penalty for doing so. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I will test you with that. And this is going to be a test to see how committed people are to their Iman and how committed they are to following the restrictions and prohibitions while in the state of Ihram. So here Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah, he writes, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who have believed, O people of Iman, O you who believe in Allah and the Messenger in the last day, la yabluwannakum la yakhtabirannakum Allahu bi shay'in. Allah will certainly test you with something, yursiluhu lakum, that He sends for you, min as-saydi, in terms of game. Right? surely Allah will test you with some game. Game referring to animals that you can hunt. Right? Surely He will test you with some game. تَنَالُهُ أَيْدِيكُمْ, that you can capture with your hands. الصِّغَارَ مِنْهُ, meaning the smaller animals you are able to capture with your hands directly, with your bare hands. وَرِمَاحُكُمْ, and others you will capture with your spears. الْكِبَارَ مِنْهُ, meaning the larger animals. You will require weapons. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ بِالْحُدَيْبِيَّةِ, and this happened to them when they were in al-Hudaybiyah. Hudaybiyah is the name of a location that is in between Medina and Mecca, closer to Mecca. And that is where they set up and stopped. And the Prophet sent Uthman radiallahu anhu to the people of Mecca to inform them that the Prophet ﷺ is coming to perform Umrah with a group of his companions. And then the mushrikun of Mecca came and they had this back and forth. And they made an agreement that this year the Muslims will not be allowed to do Umrah. And they should go back and they can come back the following year and do it with safety and security. So this incident of being tested with game took place in al-Hudaybiyah وَهُمْ مُحْرِمُونَ, while they were in the state of ihram. فَكَانَتِ الْوَحْشُ وَالطَّيْرُ تَغْشَاهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ, so these wild animals and birds would come upon them in their tents. Right? They would just come to them very easily. They didn't have to go searching for them, looking for them, chasing after them. They were coming to them. So it'd be very easy to hunt them and capture them and get them. لِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ, why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to test you with this? So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know ilma dhuhurin, right? A knowledge of exposure, meaning to let people know مَن يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in secret. That's one understanding. Or who fears Allah even though He is unseen. So Imam Suyuti explains it as that's يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ حَالٌ, right? This is a circumstantial adverb, غَائِبًا لَمْ يَرَهُ, meaning that the individual is ghaib from Allah and they don't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَيَجْتَنِبُ الصَّيْدِ, and then they will avoid hunting. So غَائِبًا لَمْ يَرَهُ, right? There is some explanation here, and one of the at least the people in the gloss or in the footnotes, they write what is meant here is hal. It's the circumstantial adverb from the fa'il, from the subject of يَخَافُهُ. يَخَافُ اللَّهَ حَالَ كَوْنِهِ غَائِبًا عَنِ اللَّهِ, he fears Allah even though he is hidden from Allah. Meaning كَوْنُ الْعَبْدِ غَائِبًا عَنِ اللَّهِ أَنَّهُ لَمْ يَرَ اللَّهِ. What he means by that is he doesn't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test them to see who fears Him even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unseen. So this is a test of their level of iman, that although they can't see Allah, they know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees them and knows everything that they do. Na'am. فَيَجْتَنِبُ الصَّيْدِ, and because of that they will avoid and stay away from hunting. فَمَنْ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ النَّهِي عَنْهُ فَاصْطَادَهُ فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, but whoever transgresses the limit after that, meaning after the prohibition of hunting, فَاصْطَادَهُ, and then hunts those animals, فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, for them is a painful punishment. And he says, or at least one of the commentators says, وَالْمُرَادُ بِالْعَذَابِ الْأَلِيمِ عَذَابُ الدَّارَيْنِ, and what is meant here by a painful punishment is punishment of both worlds, the life of this world and the life of the world to come. نعم. قال رحمه الله: يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقتلوا الصيد وأنتم حرم محرمون بالحج أو العمرة ومن قتله منكم متعمدا فجزاء بالتنوين ورفع ما بعده فعليه جزاء هو مثل ما قتل من النعم شبهه في الخلقة، وفي قراءة بإضافة جزاء يحكم به بالمثل رجلان ذوى عدل منكم لهما فتنة يميزان بها أشبه الأشياء به، وقد حكم ابن عباس وعمر وعلي رضي الله عنهم في النعامة ببدنة، وابن عباس وأبو عبيدة في بقر الوحش وحماره ببقرة، وابن عمر وابن عوف رضي الله عنهم في الظبي بشاة، وحكم بها ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما وعمر رضي الله عنه وغيرهما في الحمام لأنه يشبهها في العب هديا حال من جزاء بالغ الكعبة أي يبلغ به الحرم فيذبح فيه ويتصدق به على مساكينه ولا يجوز أن يذبح حيث كان ونصبه نعتا لما قبله وإن أضيف لأن إضافته لفظية لا تفيد تعريفا فإن لم يكن للصيد مثل من النعم كالعصفور والجراد فعليه قيمته أو عليه كفارة غير الجزاء وإن وجده هي طعام مساكين من غالب قوت البلد ما يساوي قيمة الجزاء لكل مسكين مد وفي قراءة بإضافة كفارة لما بعد وهي للبيان أو عليه عدل مثل ذلك الطعام صياما يصومه عن كل مد يوما وإن وجب ذلك عليه ليذوق وبال ثقل جزاء أمره الذي فعل عفى الله عما سلف من قتل الصيد قبل تحريمه أو عفى الله عما سلف يعني من قتل الصيد قبل تحريمه ومن عاد إليه فينتقم الله منه والله عزيز غالب على أمره ذو انتقام ممن عصاه وألحق بقتله متعمدا فيما ذكر الخطأ. So this is a very heavy verse in terms of rulings and regulations related to hunting while in the state of ihram. So when a person is intending to travel to Mecca, in order to perform Umrah or Hajj, they have to enter into the state of ihram before crossing the mawaqit, these boundaries that were identified by the Prophet ﷺ. And once a person enters into the state of ihram, which in English is translated as a state of ritual sanctity or pilgrim sanctity, then certain restrictions come into play. So for example, a muhrim, a person in the state of ihram, can't trim their nails, they cannot trim their hair or shave their hair, they cannot apply fragrance to their body, men can't wear normal clothes, they can't cover their head, etc. So all of these restrictions come into play. And one of the restrictions of being in the state of pilgrim sanctity, of being in the state of ihram, is that it is not permissible, it is not lawful to hunt. That while a person is in the state of ihram, it is not permissible, it is not lawful for them to hunt animals, to hunt any game. And if they do so, there's a penalty. And that penalty is what is being described here in this particular verse, which is verse number 95. So I will translate the verse first, and then we will go through the explanation of Imam As-Suyuti rahimahullah ta'ala. So Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, la taqtulu as-sayda wa antum hurum. That, O you who believe, don't kill game while you're in the state of ihram. وَمَنْ قَتَلَهُ مِنْكُمْ مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاءٌ مِثْلُ مَا قَتَلَ مِنَ النَّعِمِ يَحْكُمُ بِهِ ذَوَى عَدْلٍ مِنْكُمْ هَدْيًا بَالِغَ الْكَعْبَةِ. Whoever kills game intentionally must compensate by offering its equivalents as judged by two just men among you to be offered at the sacred house. أو كفارة طعام مساكين أو عدل ذلك صياما ليذوق وبال أمري. Or by feeding the needy, or by fasting, so that they may taste the consequences of their violations. عفى الله عما سلف. Allah has forgiven what has already been done. وَمَنْ عَادَ فَيَنْتَقِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ. But whoever does it again, they will be punished by Allah. وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ ذُو انْتِقَامٍ. Allah is the Almighty, capable of punishment. Or Allah is the Almighty, the Lord of retribution. So here Imam As-Suyuti rahimahullah, he writes, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have believed, O people of Iman, O you who believe in Allah and the Messenger of the Last Day, La taqtulu as-sayd. Don't kill game. Wa antum hurum, while you are in the state of ihram. Muhrimuna bil hajji aw al umrah. You are in the state of ihram for hajj or umrah. So that is the prohibition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly mentions that when a person is in the state of ihram, it is not lawful for them to kill game. It is not lawful for them to hunt. وَمَنْ قَتَلَهُ مِنْكُمْ مُتَعَمِّدًا, and whoever kills it intentionally, فَجَزَاءُ مِثْلُ مَا قَتَلَ مِنَ النَّعْمِ, right? Then the compensation will be from cattle equal to what one has killed. Right? He must compensate by offering its equivalence. ذَوَا عَدْلٍ مِنْكُمْ, as judged by two just men among you. So here Imam Suyuti, he first and foremost highlights some grammatical points. He says the word jaza'un, right? Whoever kills game from among you intentionally, فَجَزَاءٌ, then they have to give a penalty. And he says the word jaza'un bit-tanween, that the word jaza'un has a double vowel there, has a tanween, وَرَفْعِ مَا بَعْدَهُ, and the word after it, which is the word mithl, is going to be in the state of rafa'. فَجَزَاءٌ مِثْلُ, right? فَجَزَاءٌ مِثْلُ. He's saying, فَعَلَيْهِ جَزَاءٌ. The meaning that's being conveyed is that whoever kills game intentionally while in the state of ihram, then upon them is a penalty. Huwa, and that is مِثْلُ مَا قَتَلَ مِنَ النَّعِمِ, something equivalent to what they have killed. Something equivalent to what they have killed. And what does it mean to be equivalent? Imam As-Suyuti says, shibhuhu fil khilqa. It resembles it in terms of creation, meaning in terms of size. So the jaza, the penalty for killing game while in the state of ihram, is you got to replace it with something equivalent. You have to replace it with something equal to what you killed. Equivalent in what? Imam Ash-Shafi'i says equivalent in terms of khilqa, in terms of creation and size. Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says no, it's equivalent in terms of value. Right? When he says mithlu, and he understands mithlu here, al-qima, he is giving consideration to the value of the animal that was killed, not its size and shape, etc. Whereas Imam Ash-Shafi'i says no, what's given consideration is the size and shape. So the jaza, the penalty is مِثْلُ مَا قَتَلَ مِنَ النَّعْمِ, is offering its equivalent. Right? Compensation equal to what one killed. شِبْهُهُ فِي الْخِلْقَةِ, what resembles it in creation. وَفِي قِرَاءَةِ, then he highlights the other recitation. وَفِي قِرَاءَةِ, in another recitation, بِإِضَافَةِ جَزَاء, that the word jaza will be mudaf, so there's no tanween, and the word mithl will be the mudaf ilayh, so it will be jaza'u mithli. It will be jaza'u mithli. يحكم به أي بالمثل رجلان ذوى عدل منكم. Two just men, right? Two just men will judge what that equivalence is. يحكم به أي بالمثل ذوى عدل منكم, right? Two just men from among you will judge, will decide what that equivalence is. لهما فطنة, they have understanding. يميزان بها أشبه الأشياء به, which way they could distinguish what animal resembles it the most, right? Which animal resembles the one that was killed the most. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, look, if a person in the state of ihram kills an animal, then the penalty is they have to replace that animal with something similar. Imam Abu Hanifa says in terms of monetary value, and Imam Shafi'i says no, in terms of the actual animal itself, size and shape. And who is going to determine that equivalence? Two just men from among you, who have an understanding and are from that area and locality of where the animal was killed, etc. Right? Well, and then he gives examples. وَقَدْ حَكَمَ ابْنُ عَبَّاسِ وَعُمَرْ وَعَلِي رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ فِي النُّعَامَةِ بِبَدَنَةٍ. That Ibn Abbas and Umar and Ali radiallahu anhum, they judged in a court, they judged for an ostrich with a camel. Badana, camel or a cow, usually camel. Yani, according to them, when someone in the state of ihram killed an ostrich, they said that the ruling is they should replace it with a camel. Its equivalence in terms of size would be a camel or a cow. وابن عباس وأبو عبيدة في بقر الوحش وحماره ببقرة. And Ibn Abbas and Abu Ubaidah, when it came to the case of someone who hunted and killed a wild cow and a wild donkey, he said it should be replaced with a cow. وابن عمر وابن عوف, and Ibn Umar and Ibn Auf, they ruled and they judged في الظبي, when someone killed a deer, that it should be replaced with a sheep, بشاة. وحكم بها ابن عباس وعمر وغيرهما في الحمام. And same thing, they judged, yani Ibn Abbas and Umar and others than them, they judged that when someone killed a hamam, when someone killed a pigeon, it should be replaced with a sheep as well. لأنه يشبهها, because it resembles it في العب, right, in terms of how it drinks and consumes water. Right, so here they say that you replace it with the actual animal. هديا. He says the word hadiyan here is halun min jaza. Right, the word hadiyan here is the circumstantial adverb. It's a circumstantial adverb from the word jaza. Hadiyan means a sacrifice. Right, hadiyan means an offering. Baligh al-Ka'bah, that should reach the Kaaba. Meaning that this animal that you're going to now perhaps sacrifice and slaughter by replacing it, it should be done in the haram. It should be done in the haram. So hadiyan, an offering, baligh al-Ka'bah, which will reach the Kaaba. Right? An offering that should be offered at the sacred house, meaning within the boundaries of the haram. So again, if someone kills an animal, hunts and kills an animal, then that animal, the penalty is that animal is replaced with its equivalent in terms of size, etc. And that replacement will be something that is offered as a sacrifice in the haram. And the meat from that sacrificial animal will then be distributed amongst the poor and needy. So hadiyan halun min jaza baligh al-Ka'bah, that reaches the Kaaba. Ay yublaghu bihi al-haram, it will be made to reach the haram. Right? It will be delivered to the haram. فَيُذْبَحُ فِيهِ, and it will be sacrificed and slaughtered there. وَيُتَصَدَّقُ بِهِ عَلَى مَسَاكِينِ, and the meat from that animal will be distributed amongst the poor and needy of the haram. وَلَا يَجُوزُ أَنْ يُذْبَحَ حَيْثُ كَانَ, and it is not permissible to sacrifice it where the penalty took place, where the violation took place. وَنَصْبُهُ, and the reason why baligha is mansub is na'tan lima qablahu, because it is the sifa, it is the adjective for the word hadiya. So now Imam Suyuti is highlighting a grammatical point here, that the word baligha is in the state of nasab because it's the na'at, because it's the sifa for the word hadiya. وَإِنْ أُضِيفَ, and it doesn't matter that the word baligha is mudaf, لِأَنَّ إِضَافَتَهُ, because its idafa to the word Kaaba is lafdiyya. It's not real idafa. It's not idafa haqiqiyya. It's idafa lafdiyya. لا تفيد تعريفا. So it doesn't make it ma'rifa. And the reason for explaining this is because according to the rules of grammar, the mawsuf and sifa, the man'ut and the na'at, the noun and the adjective that describes it have to match in everything. They have to match in gender, they have to match in number, they have to match in grammatical state, and they have to match in terms of being definite or indefinite. And according to the rules of Arabic grammar, when you have this idafa construction, when you have a possessive construction, under normal circumstances, if it's a real idafa, then it gives the benefit of making it ma'rifa. So for example, if I say kitabun, it means a book. This is indefinite. But if I say kitabul talib, if I say the student's book, right, it specified it and it made it like ma'rifa. But he's saying that if the idafa is lafdiyya, if it's just a verbal idafa, it's not really conveying the meaning of possession, then it doesn't give that benefit. So although it's mudaf, it's still nakira. So there's nothing wrong with using it as a sifa, as an adjective for the word hadiya, which is also nakira. That is what Imam Suyuti is highlighting and clarifying and explaining with this particular sentence. Right? فَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ لِلصَّيْدِ مِثْلٌ مِنَ النَّعِمِ. Right? If there is no equivalent livestock for the hunted game, and there's no camel, cow, or sheep that's equivalent to the animal that was killed, كالعصفور, like a sparrow, والجراد, a locust, فعليه قيمة, then he has to give its value. He will give its value away as charity. Right. So that is the first option. Right. That is the first option in terms of the penalty for killing game. So let me just explain the position of the Hanafis really quickly. Right. So according to Abu Hanifa and his student Abu Yusuf rahimahumullah, that two upright people will determine the value of the animal that was killed. They will determine the value of the animal that was hunted, right, in the place that it was killed, right? And once they decide what that value is, then the person who committed the violation, the person in the state of ihram, has options. Option number one, if he wants, he can use that money to purchase a sacrificial animal, which he will have sacrificed in the haram. So for example, I hunted a deer, right? And in exchange for that deer, they figured out the value of the deer, and it turned out that the value of deer was equivalent for me to buy a sheep. So option number one for me is to purchase a sheep and have it slaughtered and sacrificed in the haram, and have its meat distributed amongst the needy and the less fortunate there. All right, wa insha, that's option number one. Option number two is, if I want, I can use that value that they came up with to purchase food, and then I can distribute that food as charity. And every poor person will receive half a sa' of wheat or 1 sa' of dates, etc. Right? And that is what is meant by ta'amu miskin, the next part. Or instead of feeding, right, poor people with that value, right, I will fast. Right? I will fast in place of feeding every poor person one day. So for example, if it turned out that the value would allow me to feed 10 poor people, then instead of doing that, I have an option of just fasting for 10 days. Right? And that is what is being explained in this verse, at least according to Abu Hanifa, that you got options. Right? So he says next, "Oh, alayhi kafaratun," or upon him is kafara, right? Or upon him is a type of penalty, a type of expiation, right? Oh, kafaratun, an expiation. He says, ghayrul jaza. That is not the same as the first penalty. Wa in wajadahu, even if he has the ability to do so. So Imam Suyuti is highlighting is that there's options, right? Wa hiya ta'amu miskin, and that is feeding poor people. Min ghalibi qut al-balad, from the most common food item of the city, yusawi qimatul jaza, which is equivalent to the value of the penalty. Likulli miskinin mud, and every poor person will be given 1 mud of food. Whereas the Hanafis say it's not 1 mud, rather it is half a sa' of wheat or 1 sa' of dates. وفي قراءة, in another قراءة, بإضافة كفارة لما بعده, that the word kafaratun, instead of being recited with a tanween, there's no tanween, it's kafaratu, and then the word ta'am will be ta'ami. That is another qira'ah. وهي للبيان أو عليه, or if he doesn't want to feed the poor people, he has an option, عدل مثل ذلك طعام صيام, equivalent to that food, fasting. يصوبه, which you will fast. عن كل مد يوما, that instead of giving that 1 mud, right, every mud, he will fast instead. وَإِن وَجَدَ, even if he has the ability to feed. وَجَبَ ذَلِكَ عَلَيْهِ, and that becomes binding upon him. لِيَذُوقَ وَبَالَ ثِقَلَ جَزَاءَ أَمْرِهِ, so that he can taste the consequence of what he's done. Right? لِيَذُوقَ literally means to taste. وَبَال, the negative consequence. ثِقَلَ, the weight of the recompense of his affair. الَّذِي فَعَلْهُ, that he did. meaning so he can taste the consequences of the violation that he did. Afallahu amma salaf, and Allah has forgiven what has been done in the past. Min qatl as-saydi qabla tahrimihi, meaning the person who, in terms of killing game before its prohibition. وَمَنْ عَادَ, and ilayhi, and whoever does it again after knowing that it's prohibited, فَيَنْتَقِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ, Allah will take His revenge from them, meaning Allah will punish them. وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ, and Allah is almighty, غَالِبٌ عَلَى أَمْرِهِ, dominant, overpowering over His affairs, ذُو انْتِقَامٍ, the Lord of retribution, مِمَّنْ عَصَى, for those who disobey Him. وَأُلْحِقَ بِقَتْلِهِ مُتَعَمِّدًا فِيمَا ذُكِرَ الْخَطَأ, and attached or associated with killing land game intentionally of what's been mentioned is killing it accidentally as well, meaning the same penalty applies. And this is according to the Jumhur. Right? According to al-Jumhur, the same penalty will apply if a person were to kill the animal intentionally or accidentally. Alright, so this might seem a little bit confusing, so I'm going to explain it one more time. That when a person is in the state of ihram, one of the restrictions is hunting. They are not allowed to hunt while in the state of ihram. If they hunt and they kill an animal, then they have to give a penalty. And the details of that penalty are being explained in this verse, right? In verse number 95 of Surah al-Ma'idah. So according to Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, according to Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, that when a person kills game and he hunts something and kills it, the penalty, the jaza, is that two upright men will determine its equivalence, will find an equivalence of that animal, min al-na'mi, from livestock, and in terms of camel, cow, or sheep, or goat, etc. Meaning whatever is equal to it in terms of size. So if it's equal to a camel, the penalty is he has to sacrifice a camel. If it's equal in size to a sheep, the penalty you gotta offer a sheep. A cow. And that sacrifice will be offered in the haram. And then the meat of that sacrifice will be distributed amongst the poor people of the haram. If he doesn't do that, right, then the option is that whatever was judged to be equivalent, whether it was a camel, a cow, or a sheep, then instead of that, he will take the value of that thing, right, and purchase food with it, and he will feed poor people with that, what he's purchased. And each poor person will receive 1 mud. Right? So he will feed poor people. So for example, it turns out that the value of a cow was like $300. So he will go buy $300 worth of food stuff, the most common food or the most staple food of that area, and he will give that to the poor people. And each poor person will receive 1 mud, which is a particular volumetric measurement. So for example, with that $300, he was able to buy 150 mud. So he will feed 150 poor people. Each poor person gets 1 mud. Or if he doesn't want to do that, if he doesn't want to feed, then for each poor person, right, that he was going to give 1 mud, he will fast. Now he will fast instead. So he has options. Right? Abu Hanifa, the Hanafi madhab, is that instead of the exact animal, right, what happens is that the two upright people will determine the value of the animal that was killed and hunted. And based on that value, then the person has options. Option number 1, they can use that value to purchase a sacrificial animal and then have it sacrificed in the haram. Option number 2, they can purchase food with that value and they can distribute that food. And the way they'll distribute it is they'll give half a sa', which is a volumetric measurement of wheat, to every poor person. Or they will give 1 sa' of dates to every poor person. And if they don't, then they can fast instead. Right? So that is what is being described in this particular verse. And that is the prohibition of ihram. So we are out of time for today. And this is a good place for us to stop. We reached the end of verse 95. So inshallah, in our next lesson together, we will start with verse number 96. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this effort of ours and place it on our scale of good deeds on the Day of Judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this a means of increasing our understanding and love for the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq, the ability to not only read the Quran but understand it, and most importantly implement its teachings and its lessons and guidance into our daily lives. وصلى اللهم على نبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.